LCB farmers. So during the week, we can't really do a lot of work in the chicken coop or the goat pen, just because it gets dark really early. We are driving the kids like 30 minutes each way to their school because we want to keep them in their old school. But this week is kind of one where we have to try kind of change what we're working on. Luckily, we are getting goats, but we aren't getting goats until like middle to end of April. So we kind of need to change where we're going. With all of the heavy snow melt we've gotten recently, I have chicken travelers. But with all of the recent snow melt we've gotten, because we did get a last snowstorm and it all started to melt, we noticed we were getting water in our basement. And now that could have been something that didn't happen before, we don't know. But we started digging out, and the whole side of this house right here is graded kind of towards the basement, and it's all pooling in this one corner right here. So we need to get this all fixed. We're going to do that, and we're going to get all of those leaves that our chickens are now going through because I moved everything. We're going to get all those leaves away from the house. One, because I want to see what's kind of growing under there, and I want to get this graded away from the house again. And then two, one other thing I noticed was our steps to our main front door. Not our main one. We don't use this as a main one, but to our fancy front door, those, it is all literally layers and layers and layers upon brick, brick, brick. And that's pushing the earth down, and it's putting pressure on our house, and water's pooling there as well. So we're gonna move those, and this summer is a must. We have to build new steps into the house right there, which that hopefully won't be too hard. But I also need to get that garden cleared out. So I kind of let the chickens follow me up here to kind of show them where these two gardens were so that they could start working it and clearing it out and all the things, because it's going to be a big day. Today we are going to be moving this greenhouse and all this stuff with it up to where it's going to go up here in the front of our property. Now the reason I'm doing that is because we want to put up the kids' slackline course thing. It's like a ninja slackline course thing, and the two trees that would be best for it are right here, and one of the trees over here, which means my greenhouse is pretty much in the way. So I'm gonna get that moved and get these bricks moved. However, our two best wheelbarrows have blown tires on them, and there's not enough to really use the trailer and the car and all that stuff to get up here. Plus I can't back up a trailer. So we're gonna make do with an old rusty wheelbarrow, that one there, that used to be my grandpa's. Not my grandpa's, my opa's. It went to my opa, then to my mom, then to me in my old house, and it's followed me ever since. So scratch that on the wheelbarrows. Every single one of our wheelbarrows is broken. So we're farmers without wheelbarrows. So now Justin is getting the trailer. I'm gonna back it up for me so that I can do this all in one go and be done and not get frustrated. That's the goal today. So I'm working on cleaning out the garden here, and it was really overgrown. Like, I'm talking probably years worth of overgrowth. On top of that, I gotta be careful because we got rakes on the ground. On top of that, it was lined along all of these fences here with raspberries, and they're just so overgrown that they're actually choking out everything else in the garden. So I'm actually gonna dig those up, and we're gonna build an orchard down here at the front of one of our paddocks, and I'm gonna block it off, so when we get to that point we'll block it off so animals can't get to it. But we're gonna move all of that stuff to there and then clear this out. We're gonna take out these like T-posts and the fencing that they had on part of it. But our goal is to have an orchard. I apologize if you hear the wind. The wind just picked up. But our goal is to have an orchard with apple trees, pear trees, the works, because our apple trees are quite old. So I want to get some new ones to kind of replace the ones that are going to slowly start dying off. Because as of right now, we do know we have about 19 apple trees on property. We weren't 100% sure, but we have 19 apple trees on property. Sorry, I keep hearing cat and I keep thinking it's the neighbor's rooster. If you don't know, cat is our rooster. But yeah, so there's like a lot of overgrowth in this garden. There's also an old chicken tractor at the back here. So I've got to clean that up because it's fallen apart. We'll use that wood for other things. But we're super excited about the goats because the goats, their manure is actually a cold compost. So, pardon me for a second, I'm going to try to clear off. There we go, a little bit clearer. But goats are a cold compost. Their manure can be used immediately in the garden, whereas chickens are a hot compost. So chicken manure we have to actually put in a compost pile and let it break down over a year or two. But goats, we can use it immediately. At some point we want to get rabbits for meat and to sell, and they are the same thing. They are a cold compost as well. So those will all be super beneficial for the garden. But right now the focus is cleaning it up. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just trying to rake as much out as I can. All of that will go into our compost to start breaking down. Let's keep going. So what I was just working on is I was shaking the soil. So we have, as you saw, a bunch of like growing boxes, or I don't know what you would call them, up on our patio. Well, they're all broken, they're screwed on, they leave water, so the wood underneath them is all rotting and everything. So what I'm doing is I was shaking the soil out of them. One, to get the roots and the old plants out, and two, because this is good dirt. Like, that is beautiful. So we're gonna use this to start seeds. We're also gonna use, because this is a good compost mixture because it has decayed plant material and everything in it. So it's good, high in all of the nutrients that seeds will need. And we're also going to get seeds started from that. We'll use it out in our garden, wherever we need it. So that is kind of the plan. Today though, we are, as you kind of have seen a little bit, we are actually boiling maple sap to turn into syrup. So that is something we're doing. We're getting that all taken care of and everything. So we're trying to stick with, like, me and Justin kind of like teaming up on everything. So we're working on the maple syrup. But with that being said, because you don't really need to be 100% focused on it, we're also kind of working in the garden. Justin's going in between the inside of the house, and sorry about the wind, guys. But Justin's going in between the house and the syrup. I'm going between the syrup and the garden. We're kind of teaming up on everything. So down here, you'll see in this garden here, it's really overgrown. And so these right here, this entire row is actually raspberries. And they're really overgrown, and we want to get them out because we don't want fruit in our actual garden. So what we're doing is, here you see I have some raspberry shoots that do have the roots on them. They're going to get transplanted. Here we also have strawberries. Those are going to get transplanted to a new place as well. We also have some sage that is going to get transplanted, if it survives, to an herb garden. But all of this is getting taken care of. We're going to do this. We are working on getting the garden cleared out so we can start planting. But boy, this wind right now, it's a beautiful day. It's in the 60s. And yeah. Now, with the syrup, I wanted to let you guys know, we actually already have 20 gallons of syrup. In less than a week, we got 20 gallons of syrup. Or not syrup, sap. So that'll boil down to about half a gallon of syrup. And so we're just going to keep working. So right now, we are in the perfect time to collect sap. So the weather is kind of the perfect up and down right now. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep going until we can't do it anymore. But first up is clearing out this garden. Don't want to do when gardening is uncovering your soil, the top layer, because that's how weeds start growing. However, I don't know what the condition of this garden is because it's the very first time I've been here, the first summer that we'll be here. I have no idea what the condition of the soil is. I have no idea what is going on with it. So I am uncovering it mainly to see where I need to pull things up or anything like that. And then to also figure out what I'll be able to grow here. My plan is to grow in this big garden extended also down the hill. But where there's that pile of rocks kind of by the, right over here somewhere, that pile of rocks over there in that area is going to be a gazebo that we're going to turn into a greenhouse. And I'm going to have an arched pathway that walks to the garden. And that arched pathway will be used for growing things that need to grow up. So like loofah, it's going to grow green beans, all of that. So that's kind of the plan right now. It's a slow process. We're probably not going to grow as much as we want to this year. I'm hoping to be able to get this garden ready to go and get a bunch of seeds started so we can get them planted in this garden, because we want to get as self-sustainable as possible. So in the process of clearing out this garden, I found this sage bush, and it's in pretty rough shape, but I think what we're going to try to do is save it. We'll plant it in that pail right there. Well, not pail, it's a pot, because I don't have where we're going to put our herb garden. I don't have that set up yet. So we'll maybe get it over there and start babying it, and hopefully it'll fit in there. If not, we'll do our best. But this is sage, and if we can get an already established plant, that'll help us out a huge amount. So that's what we're going to try and work on and find phase 2 right now. So this definitely will not fit in that pot. This right here is the entire root ball for this sage bush. But as you can see, a lot of it is really dead. So my goal and my hope is that maybe if I'm lucky, because it looks like some of these are still in good condition, if I prune it down, I might be able to save it. So that's kind of what we're gonna do. Is I will have to hopefully work with this and prune it down, and we can save this plant. This plant right here, this is actually a hydrangea. Again, a lot of these plants just weren't pruned or taken care of very well, so I'm gonna have to do this, but I don't want a hydrangea in my garden, my flower, or in my vegetable garden. So that'll get moved. I will need to find a place for it, but for right now, that'll get moved, but it's gonna have to stay there because some of the root systems are a good 1 to 2 inches in diameter. So I need to wait till I can get my hedge clippers from our storage unit, because unfortunately I don't have all of our garden stuff here.